Ever think about like all the food waste a prepared meal company must have?
Yeah.
It's got to be a mountain, right? Scraps, liquids, byproducts, the whole shebang.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge issue, and frankly, it's one that's becoming more and more important to consumers and businesses alike.
Right. Like how do you even begin to handle all that responsibly? Well, that's where things get kind of interesting. We're diving into GreenFlow, a company that's helping businesses turn this waste problem into, get this, a win-win for their bottom line and the planet. I mean, how cool is that?
It's huge, and you're right. GreenFlow is definitely shaking things up. What's really interesting is that they're not just about being eco-friendly, they're also highlighting the financial benefits of sustainable waste management, which is a language every business owner speaks.
Okay, so walk me through this, because it sounds like GreenFlow is on something pretty special here. What exactly do they do?
So from what I'm seeing, they're all about creating these tailored waste solutions. But here's the kicker. They're specifically designed for prepared meal producers, and we're not just talking your average leftovers here. They handle everything. Organic, waste, liquids, you name it.
It's like they're taking everything we thought we knew about waste management and flipping the script, right? But why is it so important to have solutions specifically for prepared meal companies?
Because the waste stream from a place like that, a prepared meal company, is a whole different beast compared to, say, your average restaurant. You've got a wild mix of ingredients, tons of packaging, and all those byproducts that most people don't even think about. It's a real challenge.
So no more sweeping it under the rug, so to speak.
Exactly. The days of just tossing everything in a landfill are long gone, thankfully. Regulations are getting stricter, consumer demand is changing, and frankly, it's just not a sustainable practice.
Okay, good riddance. Right. But let's talk about those financial benefits for a second. What I'm getting from GreenFlow is that they're not just helping businesses get rid of waste responsibly, they're actually helping them save money in the process. How does that work?
It's all about efficiency, really. GreenFlow comes in and does a deep dive into your current waste streams. And what they often find is that businesses are losing money without even realizing it. Hitting costs, inefficiencies, things they can improve.
It's like finding a $20 bill in your pocket, but like times 1,000. But it goes beyond just saving money, right? They're also all about making sure businesses are meeting those ever-changing regulations, which seems like a nightmare to keep up with.
Oh, tell me about it. Regulations are constantly evolving, and it can be a full-time job just trying to stay compliant. But that's where GreenFlow really shines. They handle all the compliance documentation, making sure their clients can rest easy, knowing they're on the right side of the law. It's like having a guardian angel for all things waste-related.
A guardian angel with a side of eco-friendly solutions, it seems. So let's dive a little deeper into how they actually make all this magic happen. What's their process like?
So it all starts with a comprehensive waste assessment. They really get to know your business, your waste streams, your pain points, the whole 9 yards.
Why is that initial assessment so important? Is it really different for every business?
Absolutely. It's all about customization. You can't just have a one-size-fits-all approach to something as complex as waste management. A cookie-cutter approach just won't cut it. Every business has its own unique waste fingerprint, so to speak.
I like that, a waste fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
So GreenFlow figures out your waste personality, and then what?
From there, they develop a custom plan using the best methods for your company. And then they go one step further. They actually handle everything from implementing eco-friendly processing methods to dealing with all that tedious compliance documentation I mentioned earlier. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Okay, so it's like having a dedicated waste management wing without the overhead, right? That's huge. But they don't stop there, do they? There's more.
Oh, yeah. They're not just about ticking boxes. They're really trying to move the needle on sustainability. Get this. They've actually partnered with One Tree Planted.
One Tree Planted. The reforestation organization.
The one and only. For every service GreenFlow provides, they plant a tree.
Wait, are you serious? That's incredible. So not only are they helping businesses reduce their environmental impact, but they're actively contributing to reforestation efforts.
Precisely.
Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. I mean, that is a powerful message. That's got to resonate with their clients.
Oh, absolutely. Especially those with an eco-conscious customer base, which, let's be honest, is pretty much everyone these days. Consumers love to see that kind of tangible action.
It's not just greenwashing. It's the real deal.
100%. Transparency and authenticity are so important. Consumers can spot BS a mile away these days. When a company can walk the walk, like GreenFlow is clearly doing, it builds a level of trust and loyalty that's priceless.
No kidding. Speaking of valuable resources,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit more about how GreenFlow handles all this waste they're collecting.
Yeah.
This whole idea of byproducts has got me curious. Like, what are we talking about here? Help me wrap my head around that.
So it's easy to think about food waste as, just your typical scraps, right? But byproducts are a whole other ball game, and it's a big deal in the prepared meal world. We're talking about things like used cooking oil. Most people just see that, like used cooking oil as waste. But GreenFlow, they're like, hold on, we can totally recycle that into biodiesel. It's a win-win.
Whoa, for real. So that greasy stuff restaurants and prepared meal companies usually pay to get rid of, that could actually be like a moneymaker for them. That's wild.
It really is. And it's not just the oil. Think about all that packaging. GreenFlow, they're all about partnering up to make sure they recycle as much of that as possible the right way. And get this, even those little bits of ingredients that don't make it into the final product, they've got plans for that too. Composting, animal feed, you name it. Nothing goes to waste.
That's so cool. It's like they're taking this old school take, make, dispose idea and totally flipping the script. It's all about a circular economy now, right? Where waste is like this resource you got to manage the right way. It's brilliant. Okay, so let's talk about the nitty-gritty. What about their actual waste processing methods? Does it get super complicated?
It can, but that's where GreenFlow really knows their stuff. Take organic waste, for example, right?
Yeah.
Most places would just chuck that in a landfill where it just sits there and creates all that nasty methane.
Ugh, methane, the worst.
The absolute worst. But GreenFlow, they're not about that landfill life. They work with these cool composting facilities and even anaerobic digestion plants. Can you believe that?
Anaerobic digestion. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Basically, it's this process where microorganisms break down the organic waste without needing oxygen, hence the anaerobic part. It's like composting on steroids.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what's the end result? What do they do with all that broken down stuff?
Well, that's the beauty of it. They can transform that organic waste into super valuable resources like compost, obviously, but also biogas, which is like a renewable energy source. It's pretty amazing.
So instead of being part of the problem, they're literally creating solutions, turning trash into treasure, just like with the cooking oil. What about all those liquids and other byproducts, though? Are those treated with the same level of care and innovation?
Absolutely. GreenFlow, they get that you can't just have a one-size-fits-all solution for every single thing, especially when it comes to liquids, right? You often need special treatment to get rid of contaminants before you can even think about reusing or disposing of them. But don't worry, GreenFlow's got you covered. They've got the know-how and the connections to make sure everything's handled responsibly.
It's like they've thought of everything. But it's constantly changing too, right? Like, what about keeping up with all the new technologies and approaches in sustainable waste management?
That's the thing with GreenFlow. They're not content with just the bare minimum. They're all about pushing the boundaries, always on the lookout for the latest and greatest in sustainability. It's pretty impressive, actually.
That's the kind of forward thinking that gives me hope. Seeing companies like this leading the charge, it's truly inspiring. It makes you wonder what the future holds for all this food waste, doesn't it? It really makes you realize, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here, Companies like GreenFlow have already done the heavy lifting.
Totally. And it's not just about having the knowledge, it's about having the network, right? They've already got those connections with all the composting facilities, the anaerobic digestion plants, the recycling partners. They've got it all figured out.
They're like that friend who knows all the best kept secrets, like the best food truck or that hidden vintage shop. But in this case, it's like the best way to dispose of used cooking oil,
Exactly. And as those regulations keep getting tougher, having a partner like GreenFlow is going to be essential, really. It's not a nice to have anymore. It's a must have.
Totally. And I think that's what makes GreenFlow so interesting. It's bigger than just, hey, we'll take out your trash. It's like they're showing everyone what's possible, like a sneak peek into a much more sustainable future for, everyone, really. It really gets you thinking, what if, one day, this is just how we do business,
Yeah.
Sustainable waste management, it's not this big thing. It's just normal.
Right. Imagine that. Sustainability, it's not a separate initiative. It's just built into the DNA of how we do things.
Now that is a delicious thought. And on that note, I think we've served up a pretty hearty portion of food for thought today. This whole deep dive has really got me feeling optimistic. Solutions are out there, and with companies like GreenFlow leading the charge, I think the future's looking pretty bright. So next time you're staring down a fridge full of leftovers, don't freak out. Think of GreenFlow and all the incredible ways we can turn what we once thought of as waste into something valuable. Until next time, keep diving deep, friends.